Hey, what's up everyone? My name is CollegeSportsREVIVED and welcome back to College Hoops 2K Legacy Mode Action featuring our Fordham Rams and the legendary Coach Carter, episode number 18 today. Fordham's hit a bit of a roadblock here as we opened up our conference games last episode, losing 4 out of our first 5, and this came after an 8-5 non-conference record, which perhaps had us thinking that this rebuild was a little ahead of schedule. But part of the reason why we selected Fordham as Coach Carter's second coaching stop is the conference itself, and the A10 is reminding us how tough this rebuild will really be, as that dating game last episode taught us to take nothing for granted in this competitive A10 division. We look to right our wrongs against a weak Richmond team who lost 4 starters last offseason and who have a new coach, and we topped the Spiders at home 65-51 to get back to 500 on the season as Murphy starred. Swanson continues to be arguably the best player on the squad these last couple of episodes with 13, 12, and 2 swats in this one. Sorensen and Scott got theirs as well, and 6-man Amir Holiday, who we've seen slowly turn around a rough half to his senior year. He stuffed the stat sheet in this one in 14 minutes. Next game back on the road, it's against George Washington, where we take a bad loss on the chin, over 20 points this time. GWU is definitely a better team than last year, but they aren't 20 points better than us, as they saw 4 players drop at least 10 in this one. Murphy was really the only one to show up, 24 points and 3 steals, and a forgettable team effort on both sides of the court. Dustin Black also shined, backing up Preston, so a lot of good guard play from the point guard spot. That was about it for the Fordham Rams in this one. So as you can see, the schedule's been easing up with this 3-game stretch against Richmond, GWU, and we finished this easy line of games with a home battle against Xavier. Richmond, George Washington, and Xavier will most likely be near the bottom of the standings this season, as the Musketeers only have 1 conference win entering today, so this is a part of the schedule that we'll need to take advantage of in order to turn this non-conference slate around. And especially since this is such an easy portion of the schedule, taking 2 out of 3 here in these last 3 games would definitely do a lot for the morale. But also, I do think the Xavier team is better than their record would indicate, with a budding superstar leading the way for their squad. Scott Polite is their Iron Man, leading the league in minutes played on the season, along with putting up 13 and 7 tonight as just a sophomore. He needs some improvement in his decision making, 2.5 turnovers a game, that's up near the top of the conference as well, but with super bouncy athletic ability and plenty of room to grow, Polite has a sky-high ceiling. But Scott Polite is not the only underclassman that can ball in this Xavier team. This is Titus Hall, a 6'5" point guard, who has had a pretty productive freshman campaign so far, but this drive is locked down as he comes out firing out of the gate, and so does Preston Murphy as he draws a foul. And Murphy's been someone I've wanted to discuss a little bit. I'm sure you guys remember a hot topic at the beginning of season 2 was his shooting slump as he made the transition to the point guard spot. Well, I know he's been done with that for a long time, but I went back and looked at some of his numbers. And even during his quote-unquote slump, he wasn't even all that bad. I know 36%, under 10 points per game in his first 9 games at point guard. Well, he's definitely turned that around. 15 games, his last 15 games, 12.5 points, a healthy field goal percentage, and up above 3 assists per game now. So safe to say Murphy is long gone past that shooting slump, as here on the next possession, Xavier takes the first lead of the contest. This is Higbee, called Tyron Higbee, who's another one of these underclassmen who can ball a little bit. And with this free throw, he's off to a hot start. It's already the 3rd team foul on Fordham in the first 3 minutes of the contest, so something to keep in mind, as here's a Preston Murphy turnover as the Rams look for a spark here, getting down 10-7 as Scott will deliver on defense and offense to give us the spark we need. Nicely done. I know there's been some up and down shooting from Higgins, Murphy, Dustin Black, but honestly, Stan Scott's been probably the most consistent shooter on this season. We don't have to worry about him slumping too much. But then look at this. Colson Kowalczyk's layup is blocked easily. cleanly by Corey Terrell, but a foul is called, so the whistles continue to go against Fordham here as Dustin Black, being a good teammate to Corey Terrell, getting in the path as it looks like Terrell wanted a piece of the ref there, but the officiating going against us, and the Rams are the Musketeers are having a lot of easy look at the line so far tonight. Fabian Swanson inside for 2 points here. That's points 4 and 5 on him on the contest, and delivering that entry pass was KJ Bigsby, a 6'7" forward who is a redshirt freshman who's only played 48 minutes on the season, but Stan Scott has 2 fouls. Kate Sorensen and Corey Terrell all play with 2 fouls, so we're obviously getting thinner and thinner and more frustrated as here's another turnover for Preston Murphy, and topping off the break is Scott Polite. Nice assist there by Titus Holland as the Musketeers open it up a little bit here. We're playing with foul trouble and a pretty wonky lineup so far as Bigsby continues to play here. It's Swanson now with an elbow isolation, putting his shoulder into Percy Hamilton, and there's 2 more for Fabian Swanson, who's been our top scorer as we get closer and closer to the break. Jared Bro, 10 seconds left for his Musketeers. 7 seconds. Inside, going back to as Ross Frazier, a 7-foot secret weapon of sorts for the Musketeers bench as KJ Bigsby trying to cut it to single digits as we head into the locker room. And all of a sudden, the Musketeers, the 1 conference win Xavier Musketeers, they've been putting on a clinic so far. A field goal percentage up near 60%. They've shot 15 free throws and out-rebounding us by 5. They seem to be winning in every team category, with Tyron Higbee leading the way with 9 points, and Fabian Swanson, one of the few consistent anchors on the offensive end for us. 35-23. As we start to pick things up here in the second half of action. In the first, offensive possession for the Rams is an unsuccessful Stan Scott 3 as Jared Bro tries his luck. It's just off the mark as Sorensen, who continues to play with 2 fouls, along with Stan Scott, who also has 2 fouls to his name as well. They link up there as Scott has a second field goal. So Corey Terrell also checks back in as him and Sorensen continue to split the time at the 5. And we're just trying to see neither of them pick up their 3rd foul, as what instincts by Preston Murphy to take this one away, as it's Evangelo Higgins finally making a mark on the contest. He's 2 for 6 shooting at the break, and we got this thing down to 11, and now Corey Terrell is tacked for his 3rd foul. But again, the foul trouble continued. That's the 2nd time Terrell has been tacked for a call that looked pretty clean live. And right now the wheels are spinning for Coach Carter. Who does he put in with so many players only a couple more fouls away from being disqualified? But at the same token, we did go into the break with 9 turnovers as well, as Amir Holiday breaks open there for a 3. He continues to play the best basketball of his senior year in these last couple weeks. And the Musketeers burn a timeout. This might be our best shot since early on in this contest to get back into this game. It's a 10-point deficit with 10 minutes to play, but just lazy defense out there on the perimeter. Xavier was so hot from 3 in the first half. We actually changed up to a zone for the first couple of minutes here in the second half, and obviously not enough intensity here in the zone. It's not something we practice enough here to really play consistently. 2-3 zone not really working here. Coach Carter going back to the man with 5 minutes to play. Hopefully it's not too late, as it's Sorensen who's been quiet today, putting his shoulder into Tyron Higbee. Bounce pass to Swanson, who's been hot today. We need to continue to ride the hot hand. We have not given Fabian enough looks today. 12 points on sky high percentages. In fact, he actually hasn't missed so far to this point. Inside, it's Higbee trying to bring a double, but going back door is Percy Hamilton as Swanson. Unfortunately, these fans are not going to remember his perfect shooting nights. They might remember Percy Hamilton laying the hammer down on top of his head a little bit more. All in all, it'd be a 15-point forgettable loss. And the later we get onto this season, the more and more concerned we should start getting. It's another loss as we now fall to 1-5 in conference play. I understand a cold stretch when you're rebuilding like we are, but again, we just didn't show up against a team we should hang with. This is a 1-win Xavier team that we made look like a star-studded offensive squad today. Outside of Murphy and Swanson playing the passing lanes a little bit, we had an abysmal performance on the interior. We just couldn't defend without fouling today, as Xavier shot 24 free throws to our 11, and our offense wasn't much better. We had flashes where it looked like we could get back in the game, but right now we're just too inconsistent on the offensive end to really consistently put up points. Dozen plus points for our top 3 scorers in the season. Murphy, Higgins, and Swanson did their part. Stan Scott had his moments too, but almost no production from the bench again. That's really hurting us these last couple weeks. Amir Holiday was the only bench player to score, as he continues to enjoy a nice couple of games to turn around his senior year. So the biggest reason why I wanted to see us take 2 of 3 in this easy stretch was, well, look at this calendar. This is the home stretch of season 2 right here. 8 more games as we reach the halfway mark right now, including 2 brutal road games back to back, and we'll be hopping in the first one against top 25 hopeful St. Joe's. As you can see by the conference standings, the Hawks are sandwiched in the top of the standings by the 3 other top 25 teams in the A10 conference. You have to scroll down pretty far to find us, as we barely hold on to the 12th spot in the A10 standings. Every game matters for us at this point, as we need a top 12 finish to participate in the conference tournament, and with the way we're playing, we'll be fighting for that final position all the way to the end. This tough stretch doesn't help our odds. This is a filthy St. Joe squad who rank pretty much near the top of the conference in every category you can think of. We're also facing them when they're at their hottest. After 2 bad losses against George Washington and Rhode Island to open up conference play, they've won 7 straight ball games, including an overtime win over St. Louis. They hung 90 points on Duquesne, and they've won their last 3 by at least 20 points apiece. So you'll see a 6-man rotation from these Hawks with Lonnie Rhodes, Jure Calloway, Kellen Spears, JC Palmer, Caleb Netherly, and newcomer Carl Reeves all playing at least 21 minutes a night. And divvying up the workload, making them so hard to game plan for, that's really the name of the game for the Joe's Hawks. I mean, all these guys can score and put up buckets, and they've had their moments of being the most dominant player on the floor, every single one of these 6 players. However, it will be a player outside of these top 6 guys for the St. Joe's Hawks that will be in the spotlight as we round out the team highlight portion. Kasheen Badiane, a 6'11 freshman big, should be a very familiar name for you guys, as he was at the top of our recruiting board last season pretty much all of year 1. 6'10", 232. We wanted this guy so bad. We called him the type of player that can change a losing culture, and we were this close to scoring his services. However, the 6'10 freshman from New York City decided to go out to Philly and play for the St. Joe's Hawks, and even though he hasn't played much on his freshman year, we love his skills. 71 overall so far, and he is a player that will star once the Hawks open up their front court a little bit in the future. So we'll hop back into gameplay here. Welcome to the city of brotherly love. We're going to try to hang with the St. Joe's Hawks, one of the top teams in the conference this season. But Badiane is not the only talented freshman on this club. Carl Reeves gets us up and going here, as he makes a layup on top of Evangelo Higgins to begin this game, as Lonnie Rhodes, the starting point guard for the St. Joe's Hawks, off the mark there on the backdoor layup. Good fast break ran here as we look for our first lead of the contest. Stan Scott's off the mark, but the second effort would be scored by Higgins. However, Badiane blocks Swanson, and it's Carl Reeves sizing up Higgins, and this ball reversal goes to Rhodes, and what a finish that was. As the 6-foot senior point guard, he's on the board, 13 points, 4 assists. He leads these Hawks in both those categories, and he actually killed us last year whenever we played St. Joe's. We had no answer for Rhodes. We'll see if Higgins and Murphy can defend him a little bit better this year, but here we are. He's off the mark this time, but it's Badiane as he follows and puts in a layup. The first basket for him as a starter. So here he is at the top of the key, and I'm trying to make a nice pass, but it's stolen by Swanson. Murphy up to Higgins as he looks for some assistance, as he delivers a skip pass to Stan Scott, who continues to stay hot from 3. It feels like I'm saying that every episode. He is definitely our most consistent 3-point shooter as some reserves check in. It's Chen Li and Amir Holiday, who have been 2 of the better bench guys for us recently, as Sorensen goes over his left shoulder with his dominant left hand. That's his second basket, as he's going to have his hands full with Badiane tonight. 16-11 game, St. Joe's still on top as Amir Holiday feeds it inside to Sorensen. Back to Holiday, Chen Li, bounce pass to Murphy, who's a little contested from the outside, but Lonnie Rhodes gives up 4 inches of height, so Murphy able to just stroke it easy with almost no hand in the face right there, no pressure. 8:21 left to go. It's Sorensen with a terrible entry pass. It's stolen by Brandon Griffin. Rhodes then turns it right back over. Great hustle by Higgins, and it's Chen Li delivering a nice drop-off pass to Amir Holiday. Those two have been the best bench players recently. Amir Holiday, obviously you guys know, has been stuffing the stat sheet for us off the bench recently, and Chen Li has actually recently become our top bench player in points per game and rebounds per game, nearly topping Corey Terrell in both of those categories. So we've got it down to a 4-point game as Rhodes, nice work off the ball there, already up to 9 points, and he could be looking at a crooked number in the point column if we don't get him under wraps. Preston Murphy having his hands full on the defensive side of the floor tonight as now Dustin Black checks in. This one rotated around to Fabian Swanson, who made a couple jumpers last game, but no avail here. Kellen Spears gives it off to Eli Werner, who throws the lob up to Badiane. Oh my goodness. I told you this kid is the complete package. And here is just another example of that as he goes up and over multiple Rams players. And it's just another play that shows you what Badiane can bring to the table. We called him out last year. We said he's the type of player that can change a losing culture. It wasn't the fact that we couldn't find an eye for talent, as Coach Carter's always had that eye, but it's just the fact we just could not seal the deal as Brandon Griffin opens things up a little bit with a pull-up tray off the bench cold. It's now 27-16. St. Joe's lead, and right now we're threatening to get blown out for a 3rd consecutive game unless we can change something around. Griffin, Rhodes, Badiane, as we completely lose track of the inbounder, which was Badiane. Man, that's just depressing. I know this is a star-studded St. Joe's team that's eager to get in the top 25, but we are just not playing up to expectation today. The effort isn't there, and that on top of the talent mismatch, yeah, it's not going to do yourself too many favors, but Preston, Murphy, and Swanson run a parallel pick and roll. Murphy up to 7, but even when we score, these Hawks are making it tough for us, man. It's not all that pretty even when we do score. So 13-point deficit now, under 2 minutes to play. Kellen Spears has a 3-pointer that's tipped. Great reaction by Preston Murphy as he hands it off to Stan Scott for the finger roll finish. 7 points and 2 assists for Murphy here in the first half as we have it down to 11. And that was the closest we got it by the time we head into the second half of action. So Lonnie Rhodes directing traffic as the ball rotates inside to Jare Calloway, and it's Kasheen Badiane making another nice decision. Right now, he just can do no wrong. He's just playing without thinking, and I think he does have it a little bit on his mind that Fordham was the last team between the Hawks and the Rams for his decision in recruiting, as he records another block there, his second of the contest. I think he's playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder to show us that he made the right decision. And yeah, I think that's also rubbing off on his teammates a little bit as well. This is a very fired up St. Joe's team, and we're having trouble even scoring as they've dropped in the first 8 points of the second half of action. Going backdoor is Eli Werner as the run continues. With the snap of a finger, the Hawks are now up 20 points, and this is turning into an ugly game right now as Werner, the backup point guard, will head to the line to try to take a 20-plus point lead, and he would successfully. Oh man, so some subs check in to try to give up different looks here. Higgins moves to the 3 as Holiday to the 2. Higgins, nice drive here, and it's spiked into the ground by Jare Calloway like a volleyball player, but he does regain the loose change and put it in somehow. But Higgins now only shooting 2 for 10 on the game. It's been a nightmare performance for him, and he's not the only one. So Murphy trying to cover Rhodes is rotated inside to Kellen Spears, a little short on the layup as we're looking to run a little bit. It's Amir Holiday, a little dish off to Evo Higgins, who is fouled on the layup, but he comes up a little bit shaken up. Higgins will actually head to the bench here as it's an early exit for him. It's an injury. Looks like a lower body injury as he's trying to shake off some pain, so we'll have to see what's going to be going on with our top scorer on the season. Hopefully it's not anything too serious, but it looks like his day might be done, and that's what you might expect here, down 21 points in a blowout, what's going to be a blowout loss. So Stan Scott and Amir Holiday both check back in. 7:27 left to go. Now a 58-33 contest as Eli Werner gives it off to Brandon Griffin, who's had a good day off the bench, going backdoor, and a lazy defensive possession there once again. How many times can you get beat backdoor before you start to realize what's happening? Now Dustin Black on the wrong side of a cut, and we'll cut it to 5 minutes and 34 seconds left. Some reserves check in. Want to see some more time from guys like Chen Lee and Amir Holiday, who've been playing well, as Lee sets a screen here. Nice pick and roll between Dustin Black and Chen Lee. I think I talked about it a little bit earlier, but yes, Chen Lee has actually triumphed both Corey Terrell and Dustin Black in both points and rebounds. So he leads the all bench players in both categories. Not by much, but Chen Lee has been putting together some decent performances of late. 3 minutes left to play now, as it is a lot of bench players in for both sides. Brandon Griffin left unattended by KJ Bigsby. And we've seen Bigsby get into the last 2 games. First because of foul trouble against Xavier, and now because of a blowout loss. And it's not been easy to watch him play, so I feel like he'll need some more time marinating on the bench before he can be a value piece of this rotation. So this is a 76-45 loss. No player on Fordham broke into double digits, as Preston Murphy and Stan Scott were the only ones to really have a decent day on the offensive end. Yep, so I mean, what can you say about this one? I think it was already turning into a blowout, and then whenever Evangelo Higgins goes down, your top scorer on the season and one of your leaders, I think that just took the rest of this game from our grasp. I mean, we just looked completely out of it after that happened, and it's going to be soon to be determined what the injury is for Evangelo Higgins, as Kasheen Badiane, 6 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 assists, and he made all 3 of his field goal attempts. So clearly, Badiane, in his first college start, I know his stats didn't jump out of the page at you off the bench, but whenever he's got starters minutes, he looks like he can be a very promising player for years to come. I'm not looking forward to playing him for the next 4 years. So as we head back to this calendar, it doesn't get any easier back at home against the 17th ranked team in the country, St. Louis. I think I talked about it last episode, but they got a 3-headed duo of 3 underclassmen who look like they can control the conference for years to come. They had an amazing recruiting class, and they're one of the top defensive teams in the entire nation. And we're going to have to battle the St. Louis Billikens without our top scorer on the season. Evangelo Higgins suffered a sprained ankle, so for the next 2 weeks he will be sidelined, and that'll be including this game as well. And yeah, as you see, Amir Holiday making his first college start against the number 23 team in the country, 77-52. That'll be our 4th straight blowout loss, and right now we're just trying to figure out how to stay competitive. I mean, we're just going through such a bad stretch of games right now, some bad luck as well. Holiday didn't do too bad on the offensive end, 7 points and 3 assists in 23 minutes, as Preston Murphy led our side with 12 points and 3 steals. But as you see what he did on the defensive end, it wasn't very much at all. As you can see, one of the players in this 3-headed duo, or rather trio for St. Louis, Deontay Culver, who's a freshman, put up 26, 12, and 3 steals on Amir Holiday's head. And obviously his first start at the college level here in his senior year. Welcome to the NFO, I guess you could say. So now 10-14 on the year as we drop yet another game, and we only have 6 games left to go on the schedule. LaSalle, Richmond, Charlotte, who's a top 10 team in the country, Rhode Island, St. Bonaventure, and UMass. That's how we end the year, as we currently sit at 2-8, clinching on to that last spot for a playoff seed. This is it right here. We're tied right now with Richmond, and Xavier's a half game back for that 12th and final spot for the conference tournament, which was our preseason goal to accomplish this season. But we do have a tiebreaker, since we have the Richmond game, we beat them, and we have a better overall record than they do. So we do have the tiebreaker on top of Richmond right now, but we will be playing the Spiders next episode. So if we split, who knows what might happen. So that's a very important game next episode. Only 6 games to go, as the ending of season 2 has kind of snuck up upon us. We got some big games next episode, as That first conference tournament berth is so close within our grasp, but we're going to have to play up to secure it. So we got some big games and some winnable ones too. I think the only game I'm really counting us out next episode is that Charlotte game. As you can see here, they're actually projected a 2 seed in March Madness, which is pretty crazy. They had a pretty good team last year. They won it as an unranked team. They won our conference tournament last year, but they reloaded, and now they're the heavy favorites as we move forward. And that'll be it for episode number 18, everybody. And once again, it's another tough episode as we try to just figure out what's going on right now and why we can't stay competitive over these last couple games. We're going to have to complete some of these games without Evangelo Higgins, and we'll see how that treats us. Well, this is it for the episode today, guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel today. This is College Sports Revived. I'm about to sign out. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see if we can get back at it and win some games next time around. It'll be really hard without Evangelo Higgins. That's 10.5 points per game off the scoreboard every night. But it's only a sprained ankle, and it's only going to be around 2 weeks without his services. So we'll try to weather the storm without our best player and see how that treats us. So once again, hope you guys are excited for more content on the channel today, or rather in the near future. This is College Sports Revived signing out, and I'm going to have an update video kind of soon talking about some series ideas I have. I have something in Madden I'm planning, something in an older 2K I'm planning, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts to make it more conducive to you guys watching the channel. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys later. Peace, everybody.